to identify. If I go to school, I can identify malpractice when I'm in my room. Imagine how that would be easy, that I can tell people are cheating without having to put the teacher walking around the room all the time to make sure that they spot somebody cheating. And I put a gadget that they identifies that. As a developer, I am looking at one thing. I want to make money out of that technology. Yes, I'll benefit from it as a user, but the biggest purpose or aim is to earn money from that innovation or technology. While there are some that will not bother or probably call you a god, all they can do is to come and pick it and ease their work or ease life. So some technologies ease our work or they ease life. So you relate technology as either a developer or a user. So the question is, which relationship is the best, being a developer or a user? And I would want to answer that in this next slide. Is the most gainful relationship with technology is when you're a developer. Today we talk about the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. It is because he relates to technology of electric vehicles as a developer. He's an inventor. He's modifying batteries every day, that as you're about to catch up with his battery, creates another one. So he earns two ways. He earns as a staff of Tesla, but he also earns from his inventions in shares. So they even can't pay him money, they pay him shares sometimes. So that's why every day the worth of the man is growing, because he's downloading from his brain and creates value. Now, as we are using, one of the users in the same relationship is Uber. Uber has a technology, but is a user of the Tesla vehicles. So him as a user to also faster or strengthen his technology of Uber app, he does not gain to the same level as the Tesla map, because he's on the side of using. So users, to make work simple, sometimes get some value. Then there are those that are relating with it just to simplify life. An example is you who is buying a Tesla vehicle for personal use. You don't gain any money out of it, but you use it to drive an electric vehicle from home to office. You're a user. So the way you relate with technology determines how best you gain from that technology. If you are the inventor of that technology, you gain high. If you pick that technology to use it in your work or your business, you gain slightly more. But those who are trying to spend and improve quality of life, you are almost one side. You will have good life, easy life, the quality of life will be good, but your income is on the other side. You spend more rather than gaining. So it is us to choose. How has technology affected the trends of the world? You have heard about these industrial revolutions. The first industrial revolution happened during the time of uh, the late 18th and 19th century. That's the time when there was dominance of factories emerged. People used it to farm and collect all the farm produce and then put it there in a heap. So at that time, the revolution was, can I create an industry around an agro produce? So industries emerged. They were using steam power at that time. So The source of energy was steam in most of the things and fire. So this revolution happened at that time. Uganda was almost not noticed at that time. We still remained in an agrarian state that we are almost in today. Then the second industrial revolution came, and that is in the late 19th to the early 20th century. And there we see electricity emerging, and we see some non-agricultural industries emerging. So as people are focusing on expanding the capacities of agro industries for processing food, some mining industries emerged and non-mining industries to support the industries that had emerged. Then we have the third industrial revolution, mid-20th century onwards. So the digital revolution, the computer use, the automation, the internet. If you follow the story of the late 90s, of how internet emerged and the WW that we always see on these websites is it emerged as a self-use in America. Americans wanted to communicate between research entities, and they wanted to share data, and they started the interconnection. Then one day somebody realized you can create plots in space and people share them and create that kind of interface, which we call the World Wide Web. So that kind of revolution has rocked, and digitalization has come in now. People are attending a meeting today, while everyone in different space because of this revolution. So all this we are benefiting in this meeting of joining Zoom this early morning without bothering people to come in one space is the benefit or the result of the third industrial revolution. And the fourth started with intelligence, but you can see that all these revolutions have their flags. Some countries are on top. We have countries like Uganda, we are still struggling at second and third. You would say we haven't even maximized the third industrial revolution. But the one of fourth is taking us by force. We are having the mixing there of the fourth industrial revolution, which we call Industry 4.0 in these present times. And this is the talk of intelligence, the artificial intelligence. It's called an intelligence revolution. Inventors want to emulate man at a low level. We have robotics, we have biotech, we have smart industries now emerging that you can run an industry as smart as having two people. I've ever visited a farm in the Netherlands that had 100 animals. And a farm of 100 cows is a big one. Imagine that farm in Uganda. It would be as busy as a school in terms of staff. We reached there, it has two robots. One serves the feed, and the other milks and detects the early illness in the animals, and also takes parameters every day about the performance of these animals as they come to milk. It is a milking machine, at the same time, a health monitoring robot. And it does this without man. So the whole farm of 100 cows, plus that means every year those are 100 cows, because a cow should give a calf every year. So you would literally say it is a farm of 200 animals. Had only two staff, the owner and the one man who is taking care of cows. So it is an intelligence revolution to that extent that it has created smart industry. So you would call that facility smart. So this is what we call Industry 4.0. Are we there yet? As Uganda, you can emulate that with where you work. How smart are you? Are you still depending on manual things? Then you are as way behind that operating at the level of probably second industrial revolution in your entity. As a school, St. Mark and Amagoma, where are you? This kind of change will literally downsize your staff to very few. That when people walk around there, there are more students than the staff. The relationship of staff to student will drop. That it is a debate today, as I was in one meeting and was setting indicators of education for Uganda, and I told them from innovation, I am looking at how I can have one teacher, 2,000 students, and for you are talking about 45. What are you thinking of? You are behind, you are operating in third or second industrial revolution, where men were still involved in operating machine. You even have to hire 3 people to operate one machine. Today, with intelligence, the machine is built with its own intelligence, and one man is operating a whole facility in a room somewhere and having products go to the market. If that is bothering you now in this era, then Industry 4.5, which we call the fifth revolution, will shock you. And that's where preparation for the future comes. And this is what will happen. At that time, people are trying to innovate. How do I have money kicked out in every box? That I can have a school or a factory run without money. People are served without money involved. And that is a shock. And it is happening elsewhere in the world already. And it is predicted that 90% of the jobs will be lost. You only remain with about 10% very active because they are either too smart or they are the ones employing the robots. So prepare for that shock if the industry 4 is bothering you. We had a debate whether we should move in that direction to reduce jobs or we continue having manual operated machines and how people have jobs. Even if you try to reluctantly remain behind, the world is not remaining behind. In fact, your profitability will be low. The more you depend on men, the more you become less productive because machines which are intelligent are more productive. One robot will be 1,000 or 100 men if you want not just to make it simple and don't scare people. You will have one robot equal to 100 men. So it is going to be a shock. Now, just to dive deep into this industrial revolution, which is a shocker that is coming by force, whether you like it or not. For every 100 employed Ugandans, I'm just relating to Ugandans, 9 of them will be unemployed. For every 100 employed Ugandans today, at that time, 9 of them will lose jobs. You remain with only 10. Giving an example where you work, if you are 100 staff and you stay up to the full industrialization of the fifth revolution, industrial revolution, you will be seeing 90 of your colleagues laid off. That's how serious it is. The question is, will you be among those 10 that will remain? Or will you be among the 90 that will go off? That's the question that bothers everyone. Will you remain among those that will be left behind as poor staff that need to stay in this revolution? or you'll be among the 90, they will give benefits after that 5 year, 3 year, 2 year contract. And they tell you, sorry, we can't renew your contract. We have actually tolerated so much for the last 2 years because your contract was 5. We could not dare to terminate it because the compensation was too much, but we tolerated your work as we wait for the time to expire. And then you will go and give bad news to your family. But at the same time, it will be very hard to get another job because it will be happening in every company. So where will you go? That will be a crisis if you don't prepare for it. So that will result into a number of millions. If you get that 100 scenario and relate it to assuming the 100 million that will be there at that time, because we predict that at that time, people will fear to give birth, so the growth rate will be low, so you will be in 100 million around there as Ugandans. Imagine 90 million people roaming around Uganda without jobs. Imagine if your family is 100, 90 of you have no jobs, only 10 can access jobs. 10 million of the 100 million will have jobs. And what would that do? It means that one person will have to take care of 9. That's the dependence level that we will have reached. We are around there based on the fight and the tendencies of our works in Uganda. We are in a dependence of 1 to 3, 1 to 4, because we are battling with unemployment. If we still suffer unemployment today in Industry 4.0 or the fourth industrial revolution, and yet Uganda, if you were to say we are around 3rd, then what will happen when fifth industrial revolution takes over? So the big question is, which category will your children and grandchildren be? Would they be the 10% or the 90% at that time? It may not affect you today because for you run your race, but your children, my children, your grandchildren, my grandchildren will face the fifth industrial revolution, because you saw very well that it changes in centuries. I would like to give you a picture of what that company would be or society in that time, and probably make your heart pump faster than it has been pumping. And then we see what to do. At that time, everything will be AI powered. What do we mean? I will be able to even have a line which is busy 24 hours for 7 days or even a whole year, and it is in a room closed and no man goes there. And I can operate it in a room and get what I want. All I do is connect a computer, but it is already automated. Everything is in. So every equipment has a robot connected to it. And this is real. Robots pack things. Robots are operating machines. And this is what will happen in that. So men will be nowhere in that factory. And then you will see robots feel even management and public relations. You will find that you walk into a factory or a company and the receptionist is a robot. You've had that with professors who have secretaries who are robots. You've seen that the latest shock and news is when AI, Elon Musk bought a company from the real Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has developed a robot that looks like him. So of recent, that robot bought a company from him. So it is that a shocker that even robots will own. So if a robot has been duplicated to be Elon Musk, so you'll be shocked tomorrow that Uh, AI, Elon Musk will be facilitating a meeting. He's going to sign on papers. He's going to even supervise work. He's going to see things the way men see them. He is going to be a head teacher, school head director. He's going to walk to class and teach, eh? And probably teach better than people because people will have the resentment, grumbling, all excuses. But for him, he's tuned and programmed to come on time and leave on time, to read sufficiently. You even program him to explain a concept very well. So the AI teacher will be better than the real teacher. So that is going to happen. And then you will see robots field marketing and distribution jobs. You've already seen that robotic vehicles have been developed to deliver cargo. So I just give it coordinates and it will follow the routes and deliver cargo. No, so distribution jobs where we have two men in a truck driving up to capture, trying to deliver cargo for 2 days. That job is going to be taken over. So they will do all the stances you see in the market and develop the market that a company. Now, humans will be in control rooms. So it is only those super humans that have developed robots, that have programmed them, that are in control of those robots, that will remain working in this company. So they will be in a small room somewhere, monitoring every robot and servicing them. If a robot has an issue, they come and service it and it starts. Or they also get issues. That is the only Superman that will be there who breathes normally, has blood, can get sick. And the other thing that will happen is that humans will be on boards of directors and also shareholders of companies. So these few that will be wise to come to that kind of state will be the ones that come around to decide where the company goes. And so board meetings will still continue to happen. If at all Elon Musk, AI Joshua Isiko does not buy out Rio Joshua Isiko from the company, and he also comes and sits in the board and is deliberating on behalf of Rio Joshua. But at least there will be that kind of control that I can remain on the board. What also happened that smaller kings will emerge. You see, the kingdoms we see today will phase out and new kingdoms will emerge. How? Imagine 90 million Ugandans without jobs, and they have to eat and drink, they have to sleep. What will happen that the 10% who have jobs and are very wealthy will begin creating certain jobs which they don't want to relate with robots. Some people will be hired to lift legs, others will be hired to raise up people, others will be hired to carry phones, others will be hired to entertain, just for the sake of feeding them, because this king will see that I need people to worship me because robots will not worship it very well. The value of man who has blood is higher than that of the robot. So I bring high value people to worship me and they benefit by getting where to sleep and what to eat. And so kings will emerge in empires somehow that one person will have over 200, 300 people subscribing to them in terms of worship. And they call that one their king. So that is going to happen. And at that time, monogamy will be seen as selfishness because the many women who lack what to eat will see you, a man, marrying one woman as a selfish man. And polygamy will be seen as kindness. So people will marry more than one wife will be thanked for being so kind in the community. Because that woman who is a wife will not be among the slaves who are worshiping the king. You'll be calling herself the queen to the king. So they rather be 220 queen and concubines around this king rather than to be called just slaves who are worshiping the king. So the whole social status will change. The current community fabric in the society will be lost. So people will be looking for how do I survive the next day. So what must we do then to gain from this technology? The first one is prepare your next generation to become one of those two humanists. You are either in the control room or you are a wealthy man or woman who is employing a robot. In the control room, you are the master. So every robot depends on you to fix it because you are the program around that can fix it. If they don't begin fixing themselves, that's also another level. I think that would be sixth revolution. But in the 50s, there will be men to fix robots. And how do we get there? I will start with how do you become a fixer or a builder of a robot? And this is not easy. Probably those of you who are in education, you realize that turning around an individual to be the person you wish to be is not as easy as building one with that vision. So to have that person that is special to be in the control room is a journey for the few, the smartest, the creative, the gifted, those who have a kind of exposure to AI. When you compare like Ugandans and other nations, I tend to get really bothered that the exposure is in miles different. We are exposed to things which are in the second industrial revolution, while our colleagues are exposed to things of sixth industrial revolution. So operating at 50 is settling for the less in those countries. While for us, operating at 50 is all about wow, it's all about impossibility, it's all about fear. I have seen that in the environment where I am, where I am supposed to support innovators. You see cowardice among Uganda. Ugandans are cowards at creating new things. When you tell them to move to the next level of solving the problem, they fear. But he has come to you to ask for support, and he has even money. He has been granted money. He fears to use even the money to create a solution. And this is a professor. He's not even a younger person who is he's a professor in a certain field who you would say the man is educated, he knows it. If he has to go there, you are pushing them by force to get there. And you say, where would Uganda be the 15th industrial revolution? And so that means you have to be lucky to be in that group. That is how I can summarize. That group is for the lucky ones. If you are Ugandan, you have to be intentional to get your child or grandchild exposed to that kind of environment. That's where international education, maybe after one degree and you take a student to another environment would be relevant. If you can have it at undergraduate, it would be good, but it's quite expensive to go and stand there. Those of others that are even braving take their students there where they are still before university, that they are lucky because you expose Ugandans to that environment, which can turn them into the people that will be behind robots. Now, the easiest is this one of preparing humans to be on boards of directors and also shareholders of companies. Stop the side hustling that people are talking about in Uganda. It annoys me when a person who has a good job picks his millions he has saved in a year and puts them in a boutique shop. in the name of a side hustle. What are you doing in this era? Are you preparing for the next revolution? Or you want to reach there when you have nothing to grind yourself for, you have nothing for what your family will depend on. A side hustle is temporary. It is a short-lived kind of source of income. You cannot pass it on to the next generation. Stop building those side hustles. Get your money and build an empire. How? Incorporate your efforts. You can do a family business or join a business that is existing and have shares as a family there. That is drawing towards an empire. Then let in your family business or in your company partnership articles state that every person born after today shall have shares at the age of 18. That helps you. That everyone is coming will be an employer of a robot. They will be on the boards, they will be shareholders. However much a robot works so hard and makes so money, it is employed by you. The more it makes money, the more you get dividends. So this person will have prepared for the fifth industrial revolution, super. However much it becomes in force, you are on top of the company. You decide whether to close it or to keep it open. You decide whether you do how many tons. It is you to decide what kind of robot to buy. So you are the boss of a robot. Now, that means that if you are educating your children and grandchildren, you will be intentional. So the choice of what to do at university will be very, very simple. We have a company, an example. We have a school. So why do people study other things other than a school? Why do you begin studying fields that do not build our school? So our empire is a school. If it is an agro processing facility for coffee, why do you go and study other things other than being an engineer who is familiar with what we do in that company? So education will change. The most prepared continent for the fifth industrial revolution is Asia, because Asia, some of you watch those soaps. I watch soaps to follow business, not to follow the love that is in. So as my family is following the love, me, I follow the business in it. But you see that most of the Indian and Asian acted soaps portray empirism. If you want to appreciate that, follow one of them. You will see how Asia is prepared as an empire. They build empires. Yeah. If you follow it, there is a difference between the richest man in the world and the richest family in the world. The richest family in the world is the king, the family that has the king of Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia king as a family is the richest in the world, while the richest man in the world is Elon Musk. Tomorrow he will be overtaken because he's not building an empire. He's running alone. So you can see the difference between an empire and the conventional corporate businesses. So you can build a corporate business without a mind of an empire, but Asia is building empires. That's why in the fifth industrial revolution, it is predicted that wealthy people and families will be in Asia. So you have to be careful at that. So because the topic has some issues, I really wanted to do the style of tell people the right note and not the fake one. So the fake note will automatically come if people master the right note. But this just to have some hints. Be reminded that this technology has been used to do a lot of things like misleading, killing innocent lives, hurting others. It is now used to portray different kind of messages. So you can have a lot of annoying things using technology. But should that stop technology advancement? No. I think you have to play in there. As people are saying TikTok is bad, there are people marketing products using TikTok. As people are saying WhatsApp is bad, I run most of my businesses on WhatsApp and Facebook. As people are saying this YouTube is so bad, there are people who are doing a lot of business on YouTube. So you have to know, how do I fit in this? As people are saying robots are replacing women and people have phased out families, there are those families that have their solidarity and have all the family norms kept intact, but they are hiring robots for business. So you have to choose, how do you relate with this technology, especially in the future, that we have no choice except to accept. Today, because it was 1 hour, I wanted to prepare that short talk about technology use and abuse, and also preparing for the future. I want to thank you and also welcome questions from you uh, where you did not understand or what I may not have mentioned to fit into the narrative. Thank you. Over to you, Kamau.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isiko. I think even virtually, you must have felt the silence when you're unpacking all this information for us. And I think we shall need more and more of you. It is quite scaring where we are going into the future. And when we look at where we are now, it informs us that we have a lot of work to do. But I'll open up the space for the participants on call to give their questions, and so that we can proceed. We have roughly 9 minutes to go. We have Mr. Stephen Setimba. Can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I have two questions. One is concerning the education now, what would be our role? How would we equip our young people for that kind of future? I think, how does what you have shared influence the way we educate our young people? That's one. Two is, as you were sharing, I'm thinking about the trend that things are going, and I'm like, okay, part of this influence is happening in the Western countries, but here in Africa, and looking at the rate of unemployment, which we're still battling with, how do we solve the problem of unemployment? Should we maybe, with the Ubuntu mindset, still go ahead and create more opportunities for people to work and collaborate in communities, instead of following the Western trend of everything being mechanized? Yeah, so basically those are my two questions. Thank you. Back to you. Thank you so much, Canon.
Thank you so much, Stephen. If we can take maybe like another two and he responds. If they are not there, then probably we can allow Doctor to actually respond to that one.
Can I ask one?
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isiko. I mean, this has been so enlightening. I've been a very big student today. My question is, or my comment is, we've had these revolutions, and each time the revolutions have come, people have been so scared of losing jobs, and they have been, you know, I remember when the printing press came, those scribes who used to write were like, this shouldn't work, and people still continue to work and have had jobs and full employment in the Western world. Could this be also something that is coming, and then we are going to see again a way out, and people will find alternative jobs, not that people are going to lose jobs necessarily. No, you've talked about people repairing robots and things like that. Is that, don't you see the Western world now, they stopped producing children, and now they have problems. They have to employ people that have to import people from outside. Maybe there would be a way out, and not necessarily that we shall have only 2 robots working in the factory. What do you think? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Damlida. Eric, can you go ahead and ask your question?
Okay, good morning,
and then we
everyone.
shall have Dr. respond.
Okay, so mine is a bit simple. I had like a doctor was trying to give us a direction of where we expect the world to be. And at some point he talked of building empires. And yet I have a feeling that you can't build an empire from scratch. Probably the side hustles, among others, and other creativity elements that you come up with will put you in the right direction of building an empire. So I don't know if it still discourages, or probably he's in support of other things that can be done in direction to that. Thank you.
Can I also do some?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I want also to appreciate Dr. for enlightening us. My observation is that where we have in Uganda, where we are, it seems our time to that period Dr. enlightened us is soon approaching, because even now the major donors of where we have been getting our jobs, they are now having question: is it adding? How the job you're doing is it having value? So now the America policies that came, that is it life saving? Is it making America powerful? And over 40,000 people have lost jobs in Uganda currently. So we need also to step up and know where we can invest our time and resources to make sure that our immediate people can have jobs in the future. My thinking is, can we now look into investing our time and resources in agriculture? Because of course, the 90 people will also have to get food. Food will be one of the necessities that will be required. And even, I don't know, the side hustles are also encourage. I also think that we should also get capital from the side hustles and look for the best ways of investing those resources we get. Because I also agree that these side hustles are for some time, but they can also be an opportunity of getting us the capital for the bigger investments that we can do. So maybe we can also, Doctor can also highlight us which other avenues we can invest in the money so that we can survive in that period. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamuka. We can have Doctor respond to those 4 questions. I think, Doctor, you'll have to come back, because this topic, even when I coded it, I didn't know that it would be this enlightening, but we kindly invite you to come and answer those 4 questions, and then we see how we proceed.
There's one online as well.
Thank
Okay.
you. I've noted it.
There's one online.
I read it from, this was from Geoffrey. Yeah. So thank you. Let me try to answer this first. All these questions is a talk almost, but I'll give quick answers. I'll start with Stephen. how do we now use the current education or tweak around the education to prepare our children? My take on this is that we need to adopt this technology as fast as possible. There is no harm to expose a primary school student or pupil to a robot and manipulating robot. If we wait for these things to be done at university, the time at university and resources at university do not allow that practical learning. So we just need to be intentional. Actually, you may realize that if a school like Namaboma can do that for the children that are doing sciences, especially physics combination, which we call physical sciences, they would have done so much to help this younger man or woman get exposed to this kind of technology. So by the time they come to the university, it is familiar. You can only innovate new things if you are familiar with all the things. But if you can't even tell the old things, what new thing will you? It's what we suffer with here. Somebody comes with somebody's technology they saw somewhere and is claiming it is an innovation. Or is thinking he has something new, which is 40 years old. Somebody comes in here and says, I am bringing a walk behind tractor. And then you look at him and you say, the technology you are talking about was done 50 years ago in Europe and America. She's too old, but it's simply because it's not exposed to all the things. So we just need to make our curriculum dynamic and fit it in there with good teaching aids. Then how do we solve the problem of unemployment? And I would like to tell you that this is a complex for the whole world. Even the people that we are talking of, those who are importing labor, they are the ones who's really running so fast to robots. First, for its efficiency, a person using these non-human labor technologies saves on labor 10 times. You will not compete with them in the market. They will come and slap you with a low-priced product on the shelf, and yours will be phased out. So you have no choice. The only way is to move towards having those that are unemployed to become employers. It is possible. I can jump from unemployment to unemployed, depending on how people are prepared for me. And then Mr. Damri asked whether there is a hope. There will be hope. We will figure it out. Just the way we've gone through these industrial revolutions. We have a prediction, and then the reality may turn up to be different. However, the hope that you'll have a country whereby you have many people walking, jumping on taxis to go and work, and you have one work which is supposed to be done by one robot and 100 people are there, that is less likely to happen. Maybe other jobs will emerge for humans. As I told you that some humans may end up becoming king worshippers. Those jobs will come. And then Eric is asking, is saying, side hustles are a way to the empire. One of the things that have made Uganda not grow its GDP is the wrong investment. People get money, let's say 10 million, and invest the 10 million in a side hustle and run for 2 years. And when you come to value the side hustle, it is now 8 million or 5. Have you multiplied the money? You know that somebody who picked the 10 million and took it to a bank and fixed it for fixed deposit would have made more money than you. And that's what I'm seeing. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, all of us in Uganda. We just need to be investors. Get your money, take it to an entrepreneur who knows how to multiply it. Somebody should prove to you that for every 10 million or 1 shilling they invest, the minimum they can do in a year is to retain it to be 1 shilling. But they should grow it to be more than 1 shilling. Not that. So get your money and put it there and concentrate on teaching if you're a teacher. Concentrate on treating people if you are. a person in the hospital, concentrate on supporting banking, be in your space that you do very well. They give you a salary, save from your salary, invest it in somebody who multiplies it and gives you dividends, but also assures you that your share capital, the equity you put in the business is still the same or has even increased in value because the things you are doing are of high value. So that should be the investment. This side hustle is a wrong approach to wealth. That's why it is having a lot of chances. A few go through while others lose. For every 9 people investing in side hustles, only one can benefit out of it. The rest of you are just becoming busybodies every day and on pressure from work. You drive to a side hustle, but this man you left there to take care of the side hustle is the one that is profiting, not you. Because for them, they get a salary. You know, the most profitable business is when you are selling yourself as a staff. In St. Mark and Amagoma, a teacher will never know whether you made losses that term. For them, they get profits at the end of the term because you pay them their salary. They don't lose. Stanley, which other avenues can we invest? I think I've answered that. You don't have to go to any other avenue. I will not tell you that it is coffee or cocoa or poultry. I want to tell you that let not all of us be entrepreneurs. Let's have a few entrepreneurs and let's get our money and grow it in terms of shares. I want to see you bragging that I have this amount of shares worth this share capital. And this is towards my empire that I'm building. If you can do a side hustle, which is really less risky for you, please do and multiply. But you realize that most cases, you don't multiply anything. You lose. If you want to see that, I want you to go and do an assessment. Sit down and start adding up the money you've earned since you started working. I started working in 2010. That's about now 15 years ago. Start adding every year. You will see that some of you are 500, 600 million. Some of you have earned over a billion. After adding that, ask yourself, where did this money go? Go and look for your net worth. The net worth is what is your value in terms of you value the car, the clothes, the house you have, everything you have, and see whether it will be even more than 10% of the money you earned over that time. The moment you can't hit over 50%, just know your side hustles have been a loss. You've been putting in a bottomless pit in the name of side hustles. They have eaten most of your money than what you should have saved. When you get that shock, you will wake up and follow my advice that you don't have to be an entrepreneur, all of you. Get your money. If you can't find a good entrepreneur, fix it. There are people giving 12% on every 100 shillings. They give you 12 shillings more for keeping it there for 6 years. 6 months, 1 year. You will accumulate money and not lose everything that you have. Rather than having a cumulative income of your lifetime of 5 billion, but your net worth at that time is just 100 million. That is really a loss. Where did the 4.9 billion go? Side hustles. It went into people who worked with you in the side hustles because for them they benefited. And then Geoffrey, lastly, where is God in this? God will be there very well because he's the God of the European and he's the God of the African. There's one thing I get annoyed when I meet Balokole. I am a born again, by the way. And I'm also a minister at church. But one annoying thing is when a person who has ability to listen from God fails to even create a simple innovation. I feel annoyed because The game of innovation should be led by prophets, by people who know God more. But they are the ones who's behind. So by the time God reveals to a man that you come up with a drug for HIV, he has allowed it to be. So if he never wanted it to be that robots come, he would do what he did to the Tower of Babel. So God will be there seeing a Ugandan suffering because the Ugandan believer has not taken his position as a son of God. He's lamenting where he has to create a solution, crying where he has to command. Because it's not God to come and command where he has given you authority to command. He will see you, you die early, you die bruised, he waits for you in heaven and welcomes and says, welcome home, my son. But you were supposed to operate at this level. You failed to manifest as a true son of God. Sorry. Some of the works I told you to do, you didn't do because you were there lamenting and fearing the fifth industrial revolution instead of creating and preparing for it. Believers and Ugandans who know their God should be the first one to take us to the sixth industrial revolution. And that is allowed. Thank you. Over to you, Karen.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Isiko. I know that there's no doubt about it. We're going to invite you more again and again and again as we grow ourselves into this space of technology, as we choose to become the innovators that God intended us to be. I loved it when you said instead of commanding, we're busy crying and lamenting. I think we should stop crying. We should stop being afraid and freak out for the future. But let's embrace technology and speak that we are going to be on top of our games in building big empires. There was so much that was, you could see the area of making money. I want to share with the participants on call this morning. Next month, we are going to talk about money. And our presenter will be talking about making money, managing it, and multiplying it. So let's look forward and let's also come up with our questions as we prepare for that. And Dr. Isiko, you know this person. This is Andrew Maweje, who is into when it comes to businesses and, making money. The other beautiful part is that I see many times that when we come to 8, people have already left, but I can see people are still hanging on. So it means this was a very, very interesting topic. Dr. Joshua, we want to thank you so much for coming. We've been students, all of us, and we're going to go back and try to munch on what we've had this morning and to rebuild ourselves and also be in touch with you. I've also appreciated because when I was looking for somebody to talk about technology, I didn't know that I had a powerful resource within school. I didn't know that you even studied with our deputy academics, Mr. Magomba. I didn't know that you're a guardian. But like you said, you're not only a parent or a guardian, you're going to be part of the family or the Smacon family, especially when it comes to empowerment. So also want to appreciate deeply that revelation that you have shared with us. I don't know if Mr. Damlia has a word or two as closing remarks, and then I will invite Canon Abiaza Chivirige to give us a closing prayer and a blessing.
Well, just to say thank you, Dr. Isiko. This is something that continues to amaze me where we are going. And being in the education sector, we are like, what should we be teaching? Being a parent, sometimes we also ask, what should I teach my children? This is really a very, very enlightening topic that we have had today. I really want to thank you, Mchara Damlia, for having this. Whoever listens in every day doesn't live the same. The varied topics that we get. And Dr. Isiko today was very, very good for me, and I think for many others as well. So thank you so much. And please, next time we call you, be available to guide. Many, many people are looking, they're asking these kind of questions. What do we need to do? What do we need to teach our children? And you have done us so well this morning. So thank you very much. And let's go and implement. Each one of us, I think, has something to implement from there. Are we going to now start looking for empires? Are we going to look for harmonies in our families to make sure that they take on what has been put up together? And many issues that you've raised, which are extremely important. Thank you very much, and let's continue to work together.
Thank you, thank you. I'm humbled.
I'll invite Chibidige to give us a closing prayer and a blessing. Maybe Canon is challenged. Can I invite Reverend Moses Senyonyi to pray for us and give us a blessing?
I think they have issues of unmuting. Maybe Canon, you can give us the prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for this morning. We want to thank you so much for giving us opportunity to grow ourselves. You've given us these spaces so that we can be empowered as we go forward in our places of work and what you have called us to do. We want to appreciate you, Lord, that you have spoken to us in a very, very enlightening way this morning and speaking to us that we should be on top of our games, even as Christians, even as believers. You have called us to be in this innovation space, not to run away from it, but actually to embrace it and be the best that you have called us to be. I want to thank you so much for Dr. Isiko, who prepared this for us. I want to thank you so much for all the participants who have been on call this morning. We continue to pray that, Lord, you will guide us. As some of them are thinking of positioning themselves the way you met them, the entrepreneurs, the investors, to be the best in our places, that when technology catches up with us, we are the ideal people that remain in these companies as believers to continue the works of God in this world. Even as we depart this morning and going back to our places of work, want to pray that you lead us, that you guide us, and you guide us from all the wiles of the enemy. We want to give you glory and honor, and want to thank you so much for this space, being in this virtual space to learn more from each other. We praise you and bless your holy name. In Jesus' name we prayed. Amen.
Amen.
May God bless you. And we always have this empowerment forum every last Thursday of the month. We shall be catching up on things to do with money. For those who have go back thinking, am I an investor? Am I an entrepreneur? Where should I be? Am I on top of my game? So that I can, even if robots come, I am still a human being that is required in that space. May God bless you. And we hope to virtually meet up next month.
Thank you, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. Let's see. So which LC1 stamped for you? You must call him Mr. Miai. Your name is what?